Let me take you back to a time in my life when I was broke, behind on my promises, short on cash, and full of excuses. I used to tell people, if only the government would change, or if my boss paid me more, or if the economy turned around. I was full of reasons why I was stuck, and none of them had anything to do with me. Then one day, a man gave me a sentence that shook me. He said, "Jim, your life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change." And that one line, just one line, snapped something in my thinking. I realized I was waiting for something outside of me to change, when the real work needed to happen inside of me. That's when I began the journey of discipline. Not the kind that's shouted at you by someone with a whistle, not punishment, not shame. I'm talking about self-discipline, the quiet, personal, responsible kind. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's what makes the difference between wanting a better life and actually living one. You see, you can hope for success, you can wish for wealth, you can write down dreams, hang up vision boards, attend seminars, take notes, and still be in the same place 10 years from now. Why? Because without discipline, nothing sticks. Let me give you a definition that changed my life. Discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. That's it. Simple. You say, I will get up at 6, and you do. You say, I will read every day, and you do. You say, I will make 10 sales calls, and you do. That's discipline. It's not magical, it's mechanical. Now let's flip the coin. What happens without it? Here's a warning I learned the hard way. Every error in judgment repeated daily becomes a disaster. You skip your morning reading, no big deal once. You spend a little too much money, not a disaster once. You skip your workout, not the end of the world once, but do it daily. That's not just laziness, that's neglect. And neglect is the slow poison that kills potential. Not all at once, quietly, gradually. Like a roof that leaks drop by drop until the whole ceiling caves in. And here's the part that's painful. Neglect is always self-inflicted. Most people don't lose their dreams overnight. They lose them by inches because they didn't build the muscles of discipline. Let me give you a metaphor I love. Discipline is the glue that holds your vision together. You have a picture in your mind of the life you want. Maybe it's health, wealth, freedom, respect. But that picture is fragile, and the world wants to pull it apart. Temptation wants to tear it. Comfort wants to blur it. Distractions want to scatter it. The only thing that holds it tight is discipline. Now, I know what some people say, Jim, discipline is hard. Yes, it is. But so is failure, so is regret. So is waking up 10 years from now realizing you lived the same year over and over. Here's the trade-off. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Would you rather carry the small discomfort of growth today or the heavy sorrow of lost opportunity tomorrow? Discipline is the great separator. The line between those who live with purpose and those who drift, between those who design their life and those who default into one. You can spot the disciplined by their habits. They're the ones who say no when others say lies. They're the ones who show up when no one's watching. They're the ones who don't need external rewards to do what's right. They're driven by internal standards. But here's the good news. Discipline is not genetic. It's not talent. It's a decision. It starts with a choice, one small choice, then another. You don't need to become a monk. You don't need to live like a machine. You just need to start where you are with one area of your life and say, today I'll be better. That's how I started. I didn't try to change everything at once. I just made one commitment. I would read 10 pages of a good book every day. That was it. Just 10. But guess what happened? I kept that promise. And with that one small act of discipline, something magical happened. I began to trust myself again. That's the real treasure of discipline. Yes, it builds results. Yes, it creates success. But deeper than that, it rebuilds your confidence. You start to look in the mirror and see someone reliable, someone strong, someone who follows through. That's worth more than any paycheck. So let me ask you a serious question, one I had to ask myself. If you don't build discipline now, what will it cost you later? What dream might die? What opportunities might pass you by? What version of you might never be born? Discipline is not about punishment. It's about potential. It's about giving yourself the chance to see what's possible when you stop negotiating with weakness and start living by principle. So wherever you are today, no matter how scattered, how stuck, how inconsistent, know this: you can change, not by magic, not overnight, but by principle, by practice, by decision. Discipline is the foundation, the first stone, the bedrock. Without it, everything is shaky. With it, everything becomes possible. And now that we've laid the foundation, let's move forward. I want to give you 10 secrets that help me and can help you build unshakable discipline, one brick at a time. Let's begin with the first 3. Let me tell you something important. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it going. That's where most people get stuck. They want to be excellent before they're consistent. They want massive change before making small decisions. They want a leap before they've learned how to take a step. But success doesn't come in a leap. It comes in inches, not miles. So let's talk about the first 3 secrets of discipline. They may sound simple, but don't let that fool you. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is power if practiced. Secret Fei 1A start small people say, I'm going to change my life starting Monday. They create a big list. 5 a.m. wake. Up gym every day, no sugar, no carbs, read a book a week, meditate for an hour. And by Friday, they've already quit. That's not discipline. That's ego pretending to be disciplined. Real discipline is humble. It starts small. If you want to change your life, don't start with big dramatic gestures. Start with a decision so small you can't fail. Want to build a reading habit? Start with 2 pages a day. Want to work out? Do 5 push-ups. Want to get your finances in order? Track 1 expense. Jim Rohn used to say, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. The man who walks 1 mile every day will go farther in a year than the man who runs 10 miles once a month. Small disciplines create momentum, and momentum is a powerful thing. Once it starts rolling, it builds energy, but it has to start somewhere, and that somewhere is small. Secret Pen 2i. Build habits. The goal of discipline is not to live in constant struggle. It's to build a life that works without resistance. That's the power of habit. You don't argue with yourself every morning about brushing your teeth. You don't hold a conference with your emotions about taking a shower. Why habit? It's automatic. No drama, no debate. Now imagine if journaling became that automatic, or saving money, or planning your day. Imagine if reading, praying, walking, meditating, whatever feeds your life, became a natural part of your rhythm. You wouldn't have to talk yourself into it. You'd just do it. That's the second secret of discipline. Turn good decisions into automatic behavior. How do you do it? You repeat it. Not once, not twice, but daily, until your nervous system accepts it as normal. Repetition creates roots, and roots create stability. Think of a piano player. In the beginning, they fumble. But with enough reps, their fingers move effortlessly, not because they're gifted, because they're consistent. Discipline is the same. It gets easier when you build structure. Morning routines, checklists, alarms, triggers. That's how you train your body and mind to move in the right direction, automatically. But remember, if you don't build good habits, bad ones will build themselves. Nature abhors a vacuum. You're either being shaped by design or by default. Secret Fen 3, keep promises to yourself. Here's one of the most overlooked disciplines of all. Keep your word to yourself. We live in a world that celebrates keeping promises to others, and that's good. But too many people break promises to the one person who matters most, themselves. They say, I'll wake up at 6, but they don't. They say, I'll go to the gym, but they skip it. They say, I'll stick to my budget, but they splurge. Every time you break your own word, you weaken your confidence. You teach yourself that your voice doesn't matter, that your commitments are negotiable. But when you keep that promise, even when no one's watching, you get stronger. You build internal respect. And that, my friend, is the birthplace of unshakable discipline. Let me tell you something I discovered early on. You can't lead others until you learn to lead yourself. That leadership begins with integrity, to you. And that means being a person who follows through. You don't need motivation. You need to honor your word. You don't need applause. You need self-respect. Let me ask you a question. If you were in a relationship with someone who lied to you as often as you lie to yourself, how long would you tolerate it? See, that question hurt me too, because I realized I had trained myself to tolerate my own excuses. And the only way out was to start small and start keeping one promise at a time. So here's a practical challenge for you today. Something I wish someone had told me when I was drifting. Make one small promise to yourself today and keep it. Not 5, not 10. Just one. Maybe it's, I will walk for 10 minutes. Maybe it's, I will drink water instead of soda. Maybe it's, I will write down my goals tonight before bed. Whatever it is, choose it, write it down, and do it. That's it. And when you do, don't just celebrate the result. Celebrate the fact that you're rebuilding trust with the most important person in your life, you. Let me wrap up this section with a principle that has stayed with me for decades. Discipline is the foundation upon which all success is built. Lack of discipline inevitably leads to failure. But that foundation doesn't show up all at once. You don't pour concrete for a skyscraper in a day. You lay it brick by brick, decision by decision, habit by habit. You start small, you build habits, you keep promises. And if you do, I promise you, discipline won't feel like a burden. It will feel like a gift. The gift of freedom, the gift of power, the gift of knowing your life is being shaped by choice, not chance. Now that we've got the first 3 secrets, let's go deeper. Because discipline isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you don't do. Let's move into secrets 4 through 6, where we talk about saying no, mastering time, and feeding your mind daily. Let me tell you something that may sound simple, but it's one of the greatest challenges of modern life. Discipline is saying no when it's easier to say yes. It's easy to say yes to distraction, yes to laziness, yes to the cookie, the show, the scroll, the nap, the shortcut. But here's the thing, every yes you say to something unimportant is a no to something essential. Discipline is learning to say, no, I won't check my phone every 5 minutes. No, I won't waste my time arguing with people who don't pay my bills or build my future. No, I won't spend money to impress people I don't even like. Because every time you say no to mediocrity, you're saying yes to your mission. Let me put it to you straight, you can't have discipline if you don't have boundaries. And you can't have boundaries unless you're willing to disappoint people who don't understand your priorities. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to say yes to everything, every request, every outing, every opinion, until I realized, Jim, you're giving your best energy to people and things that don't even matter. You've got to say no to the distractions so you can say yes to the direction. Discipline is not just about what you commit to, it's about what you refuse to tolerate. Secret point 5, Faye. Master time. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful disciplines of all, how you manage your time. Let me ask you this. Have you ever said, I just don't have enough time? I've said it too. But one day I realized time is not the problem. Discipline is. Every one of us gets the same 24 hours. The rich, the poor, the young, the old. Time is the great equalizer. The difference isn't the clock, it's how you use it. Discipline means you stop blaming the day and start mastering the day. Don't get caught in the trap of being busy. Get productive. Busy people run in circles. Disciplined people move in straight lines. Here's something I recommend to every student, every entrepreneur, every leader I meet. Schedule your priorities. If it matters, put it on the calendar. Don't leave your future to chance. Discipline says, I wake up at 6 because that's when I plan. I block time for deep work, not shallow tasks. I spend 30 minutes a day on personal development, no compromise. The difference between someone who drifts through life and someone who designs it is their relationship with time. When I began scheduling my priorities, not my feelings, not my moods, not my energy, I started to make real progress. I stopped asking, do I feel like it? And I started saying, this is who I am. This is what I do. Master your time or someone else will. And the worst part, that someone is usually distraction disguised as urgency. Secret Paint 6A. Learn daily. Now let's talk about your mind, your mental diet. This is the food you feed your thoughts, and it's either going to make you sharper or make you sluggish. Jim Rohn said it best, miss a meal, but don't miss your reading. And now why would I say something so extreme? Because the strength of your life is determined by the strength of your thinking, and thinking doesn't improve on its own. You've got to feed it. Discipline means making learning part of your daily routine, not just when it's convenient, not just when you feel inspired, every day. Just like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes, learning should be automatic. That doesn't mean you need to read 10 books a week. You don't need to memorize psychology or philosophy. Just expose yourself to good ideas daily. Read 10 pages of a good book. Watch 15 minutes of a great talk. Journal your thoughts, lessons, or progress. Study people who are doing what you want to do. Every time you do, you are sharpening your mind, and a sharp mind leads to sharp discipline. Let me put it to you this way. If you skip one day of learning, you may not notice. Skip a week and your focus weakens. Skip a month and you'll feel lost. Skip a year and you'll wonder where your ambition went. Why? Because the mind atrophies just like the body. You don't train it, it gets weak. You feed it junk, it gets slow. You leave it idle, it becomes a magnet for fear and excuses. But when you learn daily, you remind yourself who you are, what you believe, where you're going, and why it all matters. That's the power of disciplined learning. It's not about hoarding information, it's about building clarity, confidence, and conviction. And if you ever feel stuck in life, don't panic. Just ask yourself, what am I no longer learning? Let me summarize this section with 3 words that can change your lifeguard. Your focus. Say no to what distracts you. Master time like it's your greatest asset, because it is. And feed your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being prepared, not rigid, but rooted. Not strict, but strategic. Not harsh, but committed. When you say no to what doesn't serve you, take ownership of your hours, and keep your mind sharp, you become dangerous to every excuse you've ever made now. The next part of our journey is where it gets even more real. We're going to talk about the tougher side of discipline, pain, systems, and routine. The stuff most people avoid, but the very things that separate the disciplined from the distracted. Now let's talk about the part of discipline that nobody puts on their vision board. The part that doesn't feel good, doesn't get applause, and doesn't trend on social media. It's the part most people try to avoid, but the part that separates those who dabble in success from those who build it. Let's begin with pain. Secret Feint 7a. Embrace pain. Here's a truth most people don't want to hear, but you need to hear it. We must all suffer one of two pains. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. That was one of my favorite lessons to teach, and one of the hardest to live. Discipline has a cost. Waking up early is painful. Sticking to your word when no one's watching is hard. Delaying gratification, that's tough. But regret is worse. It's the pain that shows up when it's too late. The pain that whispers, you could have, the pain that haunts you, not for what you did, but for what you didn't do. Discipline stings now, but regret scars later. Let me give you an example. Say you want to get in shape. Discipline is the early morning workout, the soreness, the meal prep, the saying no to junk food. That's not easy. But regret, that's the doctor saying you should have taken care of yourself years ago. You see, the pain of discipline is temporary. It passes, but the pain of regret has a long memory. It sticks. So here's the choice: to suffer a little now or suffer a lot later. Discipline asks for small daily sacrifices. Regret demands long-term consequences. It's like lifting weights. The resistance builds your strength. It doesn't feel good, but it makes you good. And the more you embrace discomfort, the less power it has over you. Growth lives on the other side of pain, and discipline is your ticket there. Secret Feint 8e, use a system. Now let's talk about something that can make discipline easier, more automatic, and more sustainable systems. If you're relying on willpower every day, you're already in trouble. Willpower is like a battery. It drains fast. What you need is structure, routine, process. A system that works whether you feel like it or not. Let me ask you a question: is brushing your teeth about motivation? No, it's a system. You have a sink, a brush, a time of day, and a pattern. That's why it gets done. Now apply the same principle to your goals. Want to work out consistently? Create a system, schedule it. Pack your gym clothes the night before. Set an alarm. Join a class. That's structure. Want to manage your money better? System, use a budgeting app. Set auto. Transfers to savings. Review your finances every Sunday. That's structure. Without a system, discipline becomes guesswork. With a system, discipline becomes a flow. I used to try and remember everything: appointments, calls, tasks, books to read, people to reach out to. I thought I was being productive, but I was being reactive. Then I learned to don't rely on memory, rely on method. So I started using notebooks, calendars, lists. I scheduled everything. I simplified my life into repeatable routines. And guess what? My results doubled. Not because I worked harder, because I worked smarter. Discipline is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters more consistently. Systems help you do that. So here's the question: what area of your life feels chaotic? That's the area that needs a system. Create it once, and then let it guide you daily. Secret Feint 9, stick to routine. And finally, the one that most people overlook, but the high achievers swear by: routine. People think success is built on intensity. No, it's built on consistency. The boring, daily, unglamorous stuff: wake up, move your body, read, plan your day, execute, reflect, sleep, repeat. The discipline fall in love with the process, not the praise. You don't see the results on day one, but by day 100, your life looks completely different. I remember when I decided to become a serious student again. I started journaling every morning, reading 10 pages, reviewing my goals. At first, it felt awkward, but after a few weeks, it felt like home. And here's what happened. My confidence grew, my clarity increased, my momentum skyrocketed. Why? Because I wasn't starting from scratch every day. I had built a rhythm. That's what routine gives you. It eliminates decision fatigue, it reduces friction. It builds identity. The person who says, I write every morning, is more likely to become an author than the one who says, I write when I feel inspired. The person who plans every Sunday is more likely to lead their week than the one who plays it by ear. The person who reviews their finances every Friday is more likely to build wealth than the one who checks the account when I remember. Success is less about brilliance and more about structure. Let me give you one of my favorite truths. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become, and becoming that person, that happens through routine, daily disciplines, small decisions, quiet follow through. If you're still negotiating with your goals, still letting emotion dictate effort, still starting and stopping, You don't need more motivation. You need more structure. A system to support your goals, a routine that reflects your values, and a mindset that embraces pain as the price of growth. Discipline isn't sexy, but it works, and those who honor it win. So what have we learned? Discipline means embracing pain before it becomes regret, using systems that remove the need for daily willpower, sticking to routines that build your future in quiet, powerful ways. These are the tools the successful use, not because it's easy, but because it works. Now we've covered 9 of the 10 secrets to discipline, but the last one, it's a game changer. Because even if you do everything right, but the people around you are pulling you down, you won't get far. Let's move to section 5, where we'll unlock the final secret, one that either lifts your life or limits it. Let me wrap this up with a powerful truth, one that most people underestimate, but high performers live by. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let that one settle in. If you hang around 5 undisciplined people, guess what? You'll become the 6th. If you spend your time with 5 excuse makers, you'll join their club. If you surround yourself with 5 people who waste their potential, sooner or later, you'll stop reaching for yours. That's not judgment, that's environment. And discipline is either strengthened or sabotaged by the people around you. So here it is. Secret fun, tut and choose your circle wisely. You can't build a disciplined life in an undisciplined environment. It's like planting a rose in a desert. It won't thrive. Even the best intentions get choked out by the wrong atmosphere. Let me ask you a few simple questions. Who do you talk to every day? What do they believe about effort, consistency, excellence? Are they building their life or drifting through it? Do they hold you accountable or enable your laziness? Because here's the truth. Your circle is either fertilizing your future or feeding your failure. And you've got to decide, are you going to be loyal to your friends or to your future? Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. You can still love people, but you don't have to follow them. You can still be kind, but you don't have to imitate them. If your goal is to become more disciplined, then every voice in your life should either support that decision or stay silent. I remember a time in my life when I was trying to grow. I had the hunger, I had the goals, but I was stuck. And after some reflection, I realized I wasn't stuck because of what I didn't know. I was stuck because of who I was around. The people I spent time with were casual about life, casual about money, casual about their word, casual about their health. And you know what happens when you're around casual people for too long? You become one. So I made some hard decisions. I distanced myself from certain friendships, not with bitterness, but with boundaries. And I did something else. I sought out people who were ahead of me. People who read books, who planned their days, who talked about ideas, not gossip, who were building businesses, not just complaining about jobs, who woke up with purpose, not just rolling over for another hour of sleep. And something amazing happened. My standards rose. My language changed. My thinking evolved. My habits shifted. My life elevated. That's the power of proximity. You rise or fall to the level of your circle. So if you're serious about becoming disciplined, look at your environment, your friends, your conversations, your group chats, your habits, your role models, your influences. Ask yourself, is this environment helping me become the person I'm trying to be? If the answer is no, change the environment. If your gym isn't pushing you, find a new one. If your business circle isn't challenging you, level up. If your daily conversations are filled with distraction, protect your focus. If your evenings are surrounded by people who mock discipline, guard your vision. Because here's the sobering truth. You don't get stronger by fighting your environment every day. You get stronger by building one that supports you. And it doesn't always take a big circle. Sometimes all it takes is one good friend, one mentor, one group, one mastermind. One voice that reminds you, you were made for more. And if you can't find that voice in your circle, become that voice. Be the one who sets the tone. The one who says, let's wake up early. Let's be better. Let's stop wasting time. Let's build something great. Your example might just be the spark someone else needed. You raise your standard and give others permission to do the same. Now I want to give you a final thought, one that ties all 10 secrets together. Discipline is not just about what you do. It's about who you become. It's not about punishment. It's about power. The power to say yes when it counts. The power to say no when it matters. The power to build a life on principle, not pressure. On intentionality, not impulse. You don't need to be the smartest, or the most talented, or the most connected. But if you become the most disciplined, you will outlast, outgrow, and outperform everyone who just talks about success. So let's recap what we've learned. 10 secrets to build discipline. Summary: start with why, know your reason. Make it personal. Decide, Don't debate discipline starts with a firm decision. Master small promises, keep your word to yourself daily. Control your inputs, guard what you see, hear, and consume. Plan your day the night before, set your direction before distractions hit. Measure to master, track your habits. Numbers don't lie. Embrace pain, choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. Use a system, don't rely on willpower, build structure. Stick to routine. Success is born in consistency, not intensity. Choose your circle wisely, surround yourself with people who pull you forward, not down. If you practice these 10 consistently, I promise you, your life will change, not overnight, but over time, with effort, with structure, with conviction, and someday when the rewards begin to show, when the money grows, the confidence rises, the peace deepens, you'll look back and say, I'm so glad I paid the price. Because the truth is, success has a price, but so does failure, and only you get to choose which one you pay. So pay now or pay later. But choose discipline and you'll never regret it.